Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I will have a guest on from Dashville LaGrange and also have on a guest from the City of LaGrange. But before we get started, let me just say the staff of the City of LaGrange would like to say to all the students returning to school, have a very safe and happy school year. School starts on August the 5th. To all the drivers out there, please be cautious and watch out for our children as they're entering and exiting the buses. And also for those that are on their way to school. Have a safe year. Here are this week's birthday: Terry Worthley, Marcus Adam, Meg Kelsey, Michael Mann, Terrence Maddox, and Adam Blaine. We say happy birthday, city employees. Now stay tuned, I'll be right back to start the show.
With the summer heat fast approaching and no end in sight, then it's important to understand heat-related injuries. With the holidays fast approaching, people will be spending a lot of time outside. The earliest signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion or heat stroke or any heat-related injury could be as simple as swelling to the feet and hands or prickly heat. This could extend into heat cramps, then heat exhaustion, and or periods of lost consciousness. It's important to understand these early symptoms so that it doesn't proceed into heat stroke. Heat stroke can be fatal. The signs and symptoms of heat stroke are dry, hot, red skin, a fever, seizures, loss of consciousness, and or death. If you see any of these signs, please call 911 immediately. Make sure to drink a lot of water and try to stay away from caffeinated beverages like tea and coffee, as these are diuretics and they will increase your chances of a heat-related illness. We hope that you enjoy your summer and have happy holidays.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have on from the DASH organization, Dashville LaGrange, the Executive Director, Kathy Smith. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, Kathy, you've been the Executive Director now about 2 years now, I believe it is.
That's right.
And there's a lot of things that's going on with the Hillside area and some of the other communities. We're going to talk about that in just a moment.
Sure.
But just tell us a little bit about your role as the Executive Director for DASH.
Well, as the Executive Director, I am responsible for, of course, just the overall operations, program development, and sort of steering the direction of the organization based on the environment. And for instance, our economic environment has required us to make some shifts in programming and in budgeting, and funding sources have changed. So there's the sands are constantly shifting, and we design our programs and develop new programs to address the needs that come up with those shifting sands.
Okay, and it's fair, a lot of the viewing audience probably know a lot about DASH and seen some of the wonderful things that have taken place, but they also need to understand that you guys are a nonprofit organization.
That's correct.
And that calls for some of that shifting of the sands and programs.
We're a nonprofit organization. Our goal is really housing services and solutions. So we have a variety of housing options, from housing development, rental housing, home ownership opportunities.
Okay.
We've got senior housing, we have some subsidized housing, rent restricted housing for lower income households. So we have a variety of housing up to market rate homes for sale. We also have programs that assist people in getting ready to purchase a home or just get their finances in order, get their credit under control, whether they're saving for a home or their children's college or a Christmas fund, and just want it, or a car, just to get a better handle on their finances. And we've seen a tremendous increase in the desire for that kind of counseling as people's incomes have drastically changed with job layoffs and reductions in household income. So it requires those families to adjust how they're doing things and use their money differently. Our homeownership counselor works with them on an individual basis to look at how they can manage their money differently to achieve the goals that they have in mind for themselves.
So it sounds like y'all offer a lot of services, and of course the financial counseling and the home ready, I guess the homeowner preparedness there, just a gamut of things that they, now are there any charge for these services that you all provide?
Most of our services are free of charge. We have some, for rental applications, there's a processing fee and so forth, minimal fees. A lot of our program funding is through state and federal sources that that help support those programs, as most of the people that we serve are moderate income. Those funding sources provide support or the funds for the bricks and mortar for a lot of our projects to help offset costs so that we can provide those services free of charge to the customers.
Okay, great. You know, of course, I was over at Dasht for a short period of time as well, and so I do know about those services. And now they're not only open for you all clients; they're open for general public if they want to come in and,
and
take advantage.
Our client is the general public. We've got, you know, of course, our rental properties. So we have those available. We've got several variations of rental options, from single family to multifamily, senior restricted. We have the homeownership services are open to anyone, and there's not an income restriction. Some of our programs, based on the funding source, have income restrictions. Our rehabilitation loan program, for instance, a household with 4 members, the maximum income is $40,000.
Okay.
And a household with 1 member, the maximum income is about I think it was, I have my cheat sheet, 28.
28,000.
So those are the maximum incomes for some of those programs, but a lot of our services are open to anyone that is in need of financial counseling, who would like rental housing. We've got several market rate rentals available, so we have a variety of options available to everyone, but of course, our goal is really to focus our services for the moderate income families that might need a little assistance or a little break or a little help to get to that next level.
Okay, very good. Now you mentioned about some of the subsidized units and the market rate units, and I know that Dashville-LaGrange has partnered over the years with Gateway Companies out of Florence, Alabama, and have done a number of projects. And just speak to those projects, just in name and location where they are.
Gateway's been a tremendous partner for us. They are a developer of low-income housing. That is all that they do, and they do that under the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program, which is a federal program that provides upfront capital to help develop quality housing, and these are high standards of quality in these developments that allow them to last and be lower maintenance and hold up for the long term. And the rental requirements under that program, they require that the properties be rental for a period of 15 years, and generally after that they are maybe refinanced and still rental property, and they provide rent at for different income levels, so the rents are structured in tiers based on a person's income level that they fit in. So we have 2 multifamily properties, Valley Ridge and Mallard Lake. Laurel Ridge is a single-family rental development, and we're very excited to be doing our first single-family senior development, and there'll be 1 and 2 bedrooms. Those are Tucker Cottages, and they'll be on the corner of Ragland and Colquitt. And those we will be breaking ground probably in August, and lease up will begin in March. And of course, we'll take names for a waiting list if anyone's interested at this time. And that, one of the things that we're most excited about with that project is that it's our first green build. So those will all be earthcraft housing, which means the utility costs will be much less for those residents, and the residents pay their own utilities. So that, and they're geared for moderate income households, so that will really help them in their managing their disposable income.
Okay, very good. Now you were talking about Laurel Ridge being the single family rental properties there from Grady Street.
Yes.
And then you have Valley Ridge, which is the apartment complex there, and then apartment complex off of Moody Bridge.
Right.
And then there's another development too. Now you said in the Tucker Cottage, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, that the residents will pay their own utilities.
That's correct.
So in the other units, it's all combined into one payment?
No, they all pay in each development. The residents pay their own utilities. But being this is the first earthcraft, we're hoping to see a tremendous decrease in the amount that they will have to pay toward utilities, because those units will be more efficient.
Okay, and you bring a lot of good points there to the table, and you talked a little about your rehabilitation programs. it is fair. The clients need to realize and understand sometimes when they have an older home that is not insulated properly, doesn't have the energy efficient windows,
right.
and all of those things are contributing factors to a higher utility cost, where if they would allow DASH, an organization like you guys and Gateway to come in and rehab the home, that's going to drive down the utility costs, which is going to provide savings to them, which is again helping them to manage their incomes and the disposable funds that's going out to expenditures, right?
Sure, and it tracks in further if they've got a leaky roof, if it can be fixed, you know, immediately, then it prevents a lot of other damage from occurring that will cost them money down the road.
Absolutely.
So, and we partner with CAFE, who does the weatherization program. So we try to bring together as many available services to get the most done at a client's home that we can to make their house safe, healthy, and more efficient.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned, Kathy, about the various partners and the funding sources. Of course, I understand that you all get funding from the Department of Community Affairs.
That's right.
And I think that you all have some funds that you're expending now, doing some rehabilitations. Talk a little bit about that as we get ready to close out.
Yes, we are in our, just finishing up our first year of the rehab program. And that is, there are funds available within the city limits of LaGrange right now for housing rehabilitation loans to do code-related health and safety improvements.
Okay.
And that program, we still have funds available. We're still taking applications, and we will be reapplying for additional funds for next year for the city and also for the county. So we hope to expand that program into the unincorporated areas of Troup County, so that those residents also have some options to make home improvements.
Okay.
That's been a really popular program. We've gotten a lot of response, and we've been able to help about 17 people.
Very good.
With this first round of funding.
Okay. And you say that we'll be making applications for additional funding for the city limits and unincorporated areas.
That's correct.
And talk about the grant, because it is a competitive grant. So
it is. We apply on the city's behalf. Now the city and the county have access to the DCA funding. We do the applications on behalf of the city and the county with their approval and authority to, and then with our agreement with the city and subsequently one we would have with the county would allow us to administer the program on their behalf, so we can provide that service. So it's a way to access those funds through the state, where the city and the county does not really have a staff accessible or available to administer the actual programs. So that's how we compete with the funding. For the funding is we compete through all of Georgia, outside of the larger urban areas.
That's right. That's right. And as we get ready to close out here, because we have to compete for those funds because we're not a part of the MSA metropolitan statistical area.
Right. Because so the size of our community, we are lumped in with
right.
the majority of the state and the smaller cities, all looking and hoping to be lucky enough to get some of those funds.
Absolutely. Well, Kathy, I want to thank you very much, and I want to get you back on, and maybe as the Tucker Cottage development is coming online, because that's going to be the first green bill, we'd like to go out and maybe get some shot of that and have you talk about it and get some shot with the developers out there to talk a little bit about that, because that's going to be an exciting development.
That would be wonderful, and just we are also going to start at the same time our first single-family Earthcraft house.
Okay, well,
so
very good.
We'll be doing that as well.
Some exciting things going on with DASH.
Thank you.
Well, Kathy, thank you very much for coming on and sharing this information. And again, we'll get you back on and look at some of these green bills and the senior cottages there going on Raglan Street.
Great. I look forward to it.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back from What City Week in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Captain Dennis Knight with the Troup County Fire Department, here with a few thunderstorm safety tips. If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to a storm to be struck by lightning. Last year in Georgia, there were more lightning-related fatalities than any other state. It's very important that we take thunderstorms seriously. When a thunderstorm approaches, you need to take shelter immediately in a sturdy building. Avoid using corded phones and electrical appliances. For more information on thunderstorm safety, please visit ready.ga.gov.
Severe weather can destroy a home in seconds. There's no time to think, only time to act. Have a kit so you're ready for any emergency. Develop a plan for what you and your family will do before disaster strikes and stay informed during severe weather any way you can. It can be the difference between losing your possessions and losing your life. Just ask the owners of this house. Visit ready.gov for ways to prepare your family for emergencies.
Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have on the Director of Public Services, David Brown. David, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you. I know we kind of sit next to each other up at City Hall over in the same cubicles. I can hear your music sometimes. I think you hear my music sometimes.
That's right.
Well, look, today we're going to talk a little bit about something that's really going to benefit the community and the citizens of LaGrange. We're going to talk a little bit about the Moody Bridge Franklin Road connector. But before we get into that, Dave, just give us a little history about this road and how it all unfolded.
Well, the vision of a connector between Moody Bridge Road and New Franklin Road, and even along the northern corridor of the city, has been one for probably 30 years. I've been with the city 26 years, and we were thinking about it then. It never did become into fruition over the years. The bypass was gradually built from Hogansville Road toward Wall Road, and eventually ended there probably 10 years ago. And then when the Troup County School System decided to build Franklin Forest Elementary School, we saw this as an opportunity. Originally they were just going to build a driveway into the school, and we saw this as a corridor to bring another leg of the North Loop or North Bypass closer toward Moody Bridge Road. So that's when we built what we call the first phase of the connector between New Franklin and Moody Bridge. And then we're nearing completion on the second phase, which will connect Moody Bridge and New Franklin. And then eventually the third phase, which we're working on right now, the design, will be a realignment of Wall Road at the intersection of Ann Bailey Drive and New Franklin Road with Wall Road.
Oh, okay. All right. So basically, again, this is going to be a way to kind of help to eliminate some of the traffic coming that east-west corridor across the downtown area?
Yeah, actually, this project was mentioned in the SPLOST that's underway right now, the 1% sales tax, dedicated to transportation issues. It was one of the main projects that everybody felt would be a countywide benefit. But yeah, it's been around for a while.
Okay, all right then. Now, you talked about New Franklin Road and then also Ann Bailey Way, because I think from New Franklin Road down to the school is the Ann Bailey Way, and then the portion of the road that we're talking about here today that we just recently had the ribbon cutting on extends from the Franklin Forest School over to Moody Bridge Road. Talk about that project and how that was funded, David.
Well, the first phase, which was the portion going to Franklin Forest, was partially funded with state DOT funds and then all local city money. And the second phase, we had tried to get some stimulus funds for that second phase when a year or so ago when projects were being recommended for federal funds. But unfortunately, we had already acquired the right-of-way, and in order to acquire federal funds, you have to go through certain guidelines. So it was rejected for stimulus funding. So the project is being paid for entirely with local SPLOST funding.
Okay, very good. So SPLOST dollars went into the total construction of this road, and of course we have some, show a little B-roll of that road because we had the ribbon cutting there, and that basically just brings the traffic from New Franklin Road over to Moody Bridge Road. And will that be a signalized intersection there, Dave, or? Well,
when we built the first phase, going to the school, we asked to put a signal there. You have to go through what's called a warrant study with Georgia DOT.
Okay.
And it has to meet all these certain warrants before a signal can be installed. And at that time, the first phase didn't meet all the warrants. So, what we're going to do is open up the second phase and get some traffic on the connector between the two state routes, and do new traffic counts and submit a revised warrant study. And we feel certain, with the school being there and with the increased traffic, the actual traffic on the road, because previously it was a dead-end road, that it will meet the warrant study, and a signal at least at New Franklin Road will be installed fairly soon.
Okay, well, very good. Now we talked about this was this part of the road, excuse me, was totally funded by the local SPLOST because it was a countywide. What was the cost of the road there for us?
This latest phase was $1.3 million. Even though the road's less than a mile long, there's a major creek that we had to cross. A triple barrel box culvert had to be built. There was a very wide floodplain that required us to undercut the soils and replace them with rock. So it was an expensive little road because of some of the environmental issues that we had to overcome.
That's right. Okay. Well, it's very good that we were able to do that totally with countywide monies there, and they didn't have to worry about waiting for the federal government kind of loosen up their purse strings. There, we know that everybody's looking at cutting back and cutting out in some cases, but I think the community has stepped up and really have completed a leg of a road here that's really going to help to take away some of that traffic congestion through the downtown. And then you also talked about the third phase of it being the Wall Road connecting, coming back to Moody Bridge. And then I think eventually when all is said and done, David, talk about how it will continue to be a continuous loop around the city.
Yeah, the vision of a loop going all the way around the city has been around for a long time. Like I said, I've been here 26 years. There were studies prior to me coming with the city that envisioned this loop. Once the third phase of the project on the north side of town is done, which is the relocation of Wall Road, there'll be a continuous bypass around town from Moody Bridge Road, State Route 219, all the way around clockwise, all the way down to Whitesville Road, State Route 219 on the south side. And then there'll be just a little dog leg where you go south on Whitesville Road, and then you can enter on to the south loop that's under construction right now. And you'll be able to travel continuously from Whitesville Road all the way down, clockwise around town to Roanoke Road.
Okay, very good. And and as you say, the Roanoke Road portion of that is under construction now, and I think the railroad bridge is being constructed as well, and hopefully that'll be opened up, I guess, by the end of the year.
It'll probably be open by the end of the year.
Okay, very good. So again, you have two ways, I guess, to kind of get across from the east to west connector there. So very good. So again, Dave, I want to thank you because we're going to get some footage of the road and ribbon cut and everything, but I do want to thank you very much for coming in and sharing this information, and I hope that the citizens of LaGrange can appreciate what their SPLOST dollars have done by, again, kind of helping to contribute to that north loop, and eventually we're going to see that in continuous loop around the city there to hopefully kind of help take away some of the congestion in the downtown area.
I think by this time next year the relocation of Wall Road will be complete and we'll have that loop.
Okay. Well, David, thank you very much for coming and sharing that information with us.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're going to be out at the ribbon cutting, and we'll show you some more about the opening of the new North Loop. So stay tuned for that in just a moment.
Wheelabrator was looking for a customer service representative, and just through local communication and networking, we found out about the Troup County Works website. So we go online, and it was easy to process our posting and register Wheelabrator to the website. And then we posted this job for customer service representative and received many, many talented applicants that we were able to choose from. And so as a result, we were able to hire local talent to our company, and it's just worked out great so far.
We're here this morning at the intersection of New Moody Bridge Road and Ann Bailey Way, or the Franklin Forest Way. We were here with Dr. Pugh. Dr. Pugh, I just want to ask you a question. This road was opened today, and talk about the impact that this road opening will have on the school system and school buses.
Well, it's going to provide better access to one of our schools, Franklin Forest Elementary School. It will shorten some of our bus routes because it's a pass through, and so any shortening of a bus route saves the district some dollars. It will provide better access for some of our employees who I know are going to be happy to see this open and are going to use it. So the school district's glad to see this open.
Very good. I noticed there was a couple of teachers out this morning, and we had the mayor and members of some members of the council, and also some county commissioners, and just everybody. The community came out, and they talked about the SPLOST dollars that make this road possible. And you're talking about the cut through. I'm sure that's going to provide some savings to the school system. Is that fact?
Yes, it will provide savings to the school district. So we're very glad to see this be open.
As a matter of fact, we have a school bus that's coming in our background as we speak there, right?
Yes. So this may be the first school bus to go through the new road. So.
Absolutely. We're very happy to have this road, and we're very happy that the school system and everybody is involved to make this road possible, so that we can have that cut through. I know that a lot of residents live here on Moody Bridge Road kind of complain about having to go all the way around to get over to Walmart. So now they'll be able to have a road they can just cut right through. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That'd be good for the city of LaGrange and Troup County.
Absolutely. We just thank everybody. Thank you, Dr. P, for coming out this morning to have a couple of words with us, all right?
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Mayor Lou, can you tell us a little bit more about, we know that the SPLOST dollars will make this road possible, the citizens of LaGrange to Troup County. Talk about that for us just a little bit.
Thank you, Alton. This connector is an important piece of the entire puzzle for LaGrange as far as building perimeter roads to try and divert the congestion and traffic out of our downtown areas. But it couldn't have been done, Alton, without the SPLOST dollars from SPLOST 3. We've been waiting on the state for a number of years to give us the extra funds necessary to complete this connector. But the funds simply weren't there. The state's short of funds, the federal government's short of funds, and unfortunately, all the local governments around the nation have been cut back on grants, whether it's educational, governmental, transportation grants are all drying up. Without the SPLOST, the city of LaGrange would not have been able to complete this connector, along with several other perimeter roads and maintenance operations that we're carrying on right now. So SPLOST was everything to us in our community.
Well, we just so appreciative of the citizens of LaGrange, Troup County for stepping up and making this road possible. I know that the school system is very appreciative. I know there were some teachers here this morning that they say they live here on Moody Bridge and now they have to go all the way around. So it's just a great vision that the city of LaGrange and the leaders have to try to ease the burden of the traffic across the downtown area. Wouldn't you say that, sir?
Absolutely, you're exactly right. Alton, this one short connector cost $2.6 million. You can imagine what longer roads cost, and then maintenance on top of that's very expensive. Just for the school system alone, you can imagine how many buses and how many miles are going to be saving in the gas mileage alone in this quick connector. I've already got residents here that have said they've been waiting for this road to open up for 6 or 8 years. So I think there are going to be a lot of people very satisfied with what the county and the city of LaGrange have done.
Absolutely. We were here this morning, and Miss Ruth Bailey, I think is the sister-in-law to Ann Bailey, that the first leg of the road was named after. She said she got here at 7:30 this morning and didn't know exactly which end it was going to be dedicated on, so she drove the road, so she felt like the queen riding along her road here.
It was great to see her here this morning. We had the superintendent for Troup County Schools here, a lot of the county commissioners, and of course our city councilmen were all here, so it was a very exciting morning for everybody, Alton.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor Luke, I'm going to thank you for taking time to speak with us here this morning.
Great. Thanks, Alton. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back for more City Week in just a moment.
We're the main supplier of Kia. We have a lot of containers coming in and out all the time, and in those containers are packaging, which we had a lot of steel and a lot of cardboard. So what we had to do was figure out a way to recycle everything possible. We contacted the city of LaGrange. They came in with an engineer and they drew up a setup where it can make it easier for us to get this cardboard or steel out easy as possible. Next thing you know, it was installed. If you're looking for dependability, definitely. The city of LaGrange has gave us great service. Can't ask for anything better.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed my show this week. My guests have been Kathy Smith, the Executive Director for Dashville LaGrange, as she talked about some of the programs and housing opportunities that are available to the citizens of LaGrange. By all means, if you have any questions or concerns, go over and give her a call or go over and see her, because I'm sure she'll be able to help you out. Also, I had on from the city of LaGrange, David Brown, the Director of Public Services, and he talked to us about the opening of the Moody Bridge Franklin Road extension. That was a project that was done by our very own SPLOST dollars here from the residents of the Troup County and city of LaGrange. By all means, this is going to help out tremendously with traffic congestion across the downtown area. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed my program this week. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.
Here we go. What? What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you.